Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would like to take a moment and thank all our Patreon supporters whose help makes this project possible. Thank you guys, your support is very much appreciated. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 406 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky visited Poland yesterday, reports Interfax Ukraine. Polish President Andrzej Duda announced the preparation of a new agreement between Poland and Ukraine at a press conference following talks with the Ukrainian president. Duda expressed the wish that Ukrainians and Poles do not feel the border between us. It will be a border in the political sense, but we would like to have two cooperating countries so that it would be a community of two brotherly neighboring peoples, he said. The Polish president said that at the NATO summit in Vilnius this summer, Ukraine should receive additional security guarantees, which will support Ukrainian soldiers in the fight against the invaders. At the same time, Duda said Ukraine should become a full member of the EU and NATO as soon as possible. Andrzej Duda said at a press conference that Warsaw transferred 4 more MiG-29 fighters to Ukraine and is preparing to transfer 6 more, reports Militarny. At the same time, according to him, Poland has MiGs that have been modernized according to NATO standards, and it will still need these aircraft, but when they are not needed after the arrival of new modern aircraft, they might be transferred to Ukraine. At the same time, President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Poland to show leadership in the aviation coalition and help Ukraine to obtain modern F-16 fighter jets, reports Ukrainska Pravda. As part of Zelensky's working visit to Warsaw, Ukraine and Poland signed agreements for the supply of Polish military equipment to Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. In particular, according to him, a document was signed on the supply of Polish Rosomak armored personnel carriers, RAK self-propelled mortars, Perun air defense systems, MiG-type fighters, and other weapons. The Ukrainian delegation, as Zelensky said, also discussed with the Polish side the creation of joint ventures for the production of weapons and ammunition. Volodymyr Zelensky has been awarded the Order of the White Eagle in recognition of his services in deepening relations between Poland and Ukraine for his activities in the field of security and stability in the protection of human rights. It is difficult to hide tears of emotion watching your service to the motherland. You have not left Ukraine or your compatriots. You are an exemplary leader of the state and the nation, Duda said at the ceremony. In turn, Zelensky thanked the president, the government, and the people of Poland for the help and support of Ukraine from the first days of the full-scale Russian invasion, as well as for the reception and accommodation of millions of Ukrainians who fled the war. The president of Ukraine announced the signing of a separate document with Poland on cooperation in the reconstruction of Ukraine, which according to him will help the development of both countries. Later, he invited representatives of Polish business to enter Ukraine intensively and participate in its restoration right now. Zelensky said some representatives of Polish business are already participating in the program for the rapid restoration of Ukraine. For example, in the Kharkiv region, thanks to their efforts, a maternity hospital, a school, and a university will be restored. Zelensky said that during a meeting with Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, a solution was found to the issue of exporting Ukrainian grain to Poland. Earlier, the governments of Poland and Romania announced their intention to ask the European Commission to develop mechanisms to help avoid price dumping to the detriment of local farmers due to cheap Ukrainian grain that comes to them. Polish farmers even threatened to disrupt events during Zelensky's visit to Warsaw. The president of Ukraine said that a way out was found and all issues will be resolved in the coming days or weeks. Volodymyr Zelensky's foreign policy advisor Andriy Sybiha said that Ukraine is ready to discuss the future of Crimea with Russia if the armed forces reach the border of the Russian-occupied peninsula, reports Ukrainska Pravda. In an interview with the Financial Times, Sybiha said that if Ukraine succeeds in achieving its strategic goals on the battlefield and reaches the administrative border with Crimea, it will be ready to open a diplomatic page to discuss this issue. At the same time, he stressed that this does not mean that Ukraine excludes the way of liberating Crimea by the army. The media notes that his words became the clearest statement of interest in negotiations with the Russian Federation since April 2022. In addition, Sybiga's words can reassure Western officials who are skeptical about Ukraine's ability to return the peninsula and fear that any attempt to do so militarily could push Russian President Vladimir Putin to escalate the war, possibly with the use of nuclear weapons. Currently, President Zelensky has ruled out peace negotiations with the Russian Federation until Russian troops leave the entire territory of Ukraine, including Crimea. Spain will transfer promised 6 Leopard 2 A4 tanks to Ukraine in the second half of April, reports LBUA. Defense Minister Margarita Robles said that these tanks have not been used since the 90s and require refitting and battle readiness tests. Earlier, Madrid planned to send those tanks by Easter. Spain had committed to sending a total of 10 tanks to Ukraine, and Robles said the armed forces had started repairing the remaining 4. It has also trained 40 tank crew members and 15 mechanics at a military base in the northeastern city of Zaragoza. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the Highlights from Ukraine podcast and truth about Russia's invasion. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.